guys? Paulie Malignaggi for Paulie TV. This weekend we have the rematch. Devin Haney, George Kambosos for the undisputed lightweight championship of the world. A rematch which, I don't think even would be happening had it not been a clause in the contract the first time around that a rematch would happen if Haney won the title. George Kambosos had this stipulation in the contract for this voluntary defense against Devin Haney, where if he won the title, if Haney was able to win the title, he'd have to give George Kambosos a rematch in a really uninspiring fight. More so on the part of, for me, I know some people like to say Devin Haney, could have made it more action-packed, but I don't have a problem with the way Devin Haney fought. I think Devin Haney, that's the way he boxes, and so I think it's up to George Kambosos to sort of bring him out of that defensive shell, that that safety first style, and force him to fight. So, and if you're good enough, you can force a guy like Haney to fight. That's a boxing style that Haney has, which is jab first, counterpuncher, speed, control distance. It's a lot of things that I used to look for when I used to box in my boxing career. So and it's a style that if you have to be able to penetrate that distance and get inside and just do a lot of things in order to force a guy like that to fight a more action-packed fight where he's going to be willing to trade and engage a little bit more. And I think I don't think Haney would shy away from it if he was forced to, but he has the ability to box the way he does, and so he does, especially against a guy like George Kambosos, who in the first fight, really, let's face it, was completely unprepared. I'm not to say he didn't train. I have no doubt George Kambosos trained his ass off for the first fight, but as far as game plan was concerned, that was utterly ridiculous. No plan to cut off the ring at all. Showed he was completely incapable of cutting off the ring. No plan B as far as figuring out ways to get past Haney's jab and close the gap. When you go into a fight with Devin Haney, you gotta probably prepare. The one thing you want to prepare for is his ability to jab and maintain that distance, that comfortable distance against him, against any opponent he fights, and then work off that speed. You can jab with a jab, or you can't hook with a hooker. Kambosos did neither. He did none. He was rushing in at times, and he would get smothered. I thought Haney was really smart when Kambosos rushed in, he smothered. And then when Kambosos didn't rush in, he tried to bide his time getting in. He was just at the mercy of Haney's jab. So I really feel like the key to the fight has to be in the rematch. If George Kambosos is going to have any chance of success at all, it's going to be to figure out ways to get his way and work his way inside. It's using the jab against the jabber, but also using your feints, using your different level changes, using some deceptive things that will, maybe put Haney out of position and then be able to fly your way in and use punches. Another thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to learn to cut off the ring. And that's definitely essential, because cutting off the ring can take away the comfortable spacing Haney is used to having, and from there it again may create mistakes. It may force Haney to engage. It may give you a chance to be able to engage. We saw a Kambosos who put on a very good performance against Teofimo Lopez, but Lopez wasn't a guy he had to look for. Lopez basically came to Kambosos thinking he was going to knock out Kambosos. So Kambosos was able to show some of his better qualities because he didn't have to look for Lopez. Styles make fights. With Haney, you're going to have to look for him. You're going to have to try to force him to engage. He's not going to engage with you because he's better than you in every way in this fight. So he's going to use his advantages, his athletic ability, his God-given talent, and of course his boxing skills to make his life easier the way he did the first time around. So I talked about the adjustments Kambosos needs to make, but now the question is, can he make these adjustments? Does he know how to make these adjustments? Does he know how to work his way inside and do these things? Does he know how to cut off the ring? He talked a lot in the first fight. Going into the first fight, he was confident. He was the champion. Obviously, he called himself the emperor, all that other good stuff. I don't have a problem with that. He had been a guy who had been taken lightly in his career, and people hadn't given him the respect. Even going into the Lopez fight, he won the undisputed title, and people still, weren't giving him the respect. They were calling Haney's secondary version of the title the real WBC title. Some people didn't want to say that Kambosos was the undisputed champion. He certainly was, but that's another conversation for another time for you Haney groupies. Nonetheless, Kambosos came in with a chip on his shoulder, so I didn't have a problem with him talking, but he absolutely he put up a goose egg at the end, and when he got to the fight, he did absolutely nothing that was worthwhile, and was beaten pretty easily, pretty handily. There was talk of, there was some complaints after the fight. I think Kambosos even might have said he thought he won, or he thought it was closer. I don't know. I don't remember now, but whatever. I mean, the fight was absolutely unwatchable. And again, I don't blame Haney. I blame Kambosos. I know a lot of people that I've spoken to blame Haney. I don't blame Haney. That's his style, and Haney can fight in a more exciting style if he has a capable guy in front of him. We'll see if Kambosos is that capable guy in the rematch. I mean, it boils down to that. First fight, 41,000 people. You're in your home country. You're making the defense of the undisputed lightweight title that you claim to the United States. I'd say you'd have to put up a better performance than that against a foreigner coming to your country and looking to take your title, and Kambosos didn't do that, And again, the question is, can Kambosos make these adjustments? He's going to be at home again, but can he make these adjustments? Can he make good on the promise that he said last time, where he said he'd beat Devin Haney? And let's say, for argument's sake, Kambosos does beat Devin Haney, which I find very difficult to predict. But let's say if Kambosos does beat Devin Haney, do they make a third fight? I'm kind of curious about that too, because I think if Kambosos wins this fight, I don't know if Haney gets a third fight with Kambosos unless he extends with Top Rank. Because let's remember, Haney only did a 3-fight deal with Top Rank. It's a short-term deal. So it was going to be Kambosos' fight and a Kambosos rematch. And if he wins that, it was probably going to be that Top Rank was going to try to make him fight Lomachenko. Again, a fight that I have predicted and will still predict to this day that he will try to avoid at all costs. And he'll probably just say he can't make weight and move up in weight. But that's another question, another conversation for later. Right now, we're saying if there's for argument's sake, if Kambosos wins, I think that Haney would only get a third fight, would only get the rematch, the third fight, if he extends with Top Rank. Otherwise, Top Rank will not bother getting him that third fight. And so then it would force an extension on Haney's Top Rank contract. But if Haney does win the fight, I think Top Rank is going to try to make the Lomachenko fight, a fight which I believe Haney also knows he can't win. And for that reason, I don't think he takes the fight. Now, if I'm proven wrong, I'll admit it, but the way I see the fight going, is that Haney wins the rematch. Lomachenko will win at the end of the month, and Top Rank will try to make Lomachenko and Haney for the undisputed title. A fight where I think Lomachenko ends up winning, and then in due time, in the next 12 months, I don't know if it'll be in Lomachenko's first defense or not, maybe even his second or third defense, but in the next 12 months after that, they will look to make Shakur Stevenson and Lomachenko on pay-per-view in a fight that I believe Shakur Stevenson will be ready to win and then become a pay-per-view star as he becomes the undisputed lightweight champion. Now, I think that's the crystal ball I have in front of me. That's the kind of mapping out of the road that I have that I see Top Rank taking as far as these undisputed titles are concerned. Devin Haney can put a monkey wrench in all that by just saying he can't make weight, avoiding Lomachenko, and dropping all those lightweight titles and moving up to 140 pounds. He would still have one fight left on his Top Rank contract, and I don't know if he's going to extend it or not. But if he doesn't extend, the third fight would be his last fight. It would be a non-title fight at 140 pounds. And I could see maybe Top Rank trying to make the Teofimo Lopez fight at 140 pounds. I don't know. There could be another fight over there. I'm not sure. But the lightweight titles would be vacant. I think Shakur Stevenson would claim one. I think Lomachenko would claim one. I still think Lomachenko, the plan for Top Rank is for Stevenson and Lomachenko to fight when Stevenson is ready to overtake him. But I think that's about 12 months away, if I'm honest. But nonetheless, I think if Haney vacates the titles like I predict he will, then I think that Shakur Stevenson and Lomachenko will each pick up a title. And maybe Lomachenko tries to unify it, and maybe Shakur Stevenson also tries to unify the other belt that he picks up, and maybe they can fight each other again in another type of fight for the undisputed title, where each guy would have two belts, and they could fight for the undisputed lightweight title on pay-per-view again in about 12 months. That's sort of my prediction for all this. I really couldn't make a definitive decision on who would win the fight in the first time around between Kambosos and Haney. I thought there was a lot of things to keep in mind in the fight. A lot of things that you just you weren't sure of yet about Haney, and you just weren't sure about things like the politics of the judging in a foreign country, and just the way Haney would react being so far away from home as a young fighter. There was a lot of things that I was curious about going into the first fight that I wasn't for sure knowing you know, how it would be. And so for that reason, I thought, you know, it could be a closer competitive fight. But in this rematch, I really don't think, I can't see Haney losing the fight, man. Honestly, and I'm not even, it's not even a disrespect to Kambosos. Based on what I saw in the first fight, I don't even see it being close again. So, you know, I was proven wrong in the first fight when Haney did what he did. So we'll see if Kambosos can prove me wrong this time around in the second fight, because I see Devin Haney handling in this fight pretty easily. And then, like I said, moving up to 140 pounds, I don't see him fighting Lomachenko. I don't see that fight happening. I don't see him. I see him looking to try to go the other way if Lomachenko has tried to force on him. And as I said, I've already kind of given you my plan, my idea of what Top Rank's plan will be going forward if that happens. But I'm Paulie Malignaggi. This is Paulie TV. Let me know your thoughts on who you think wins between Haney and Kambosos in the rematch, how they win, how the fight plays out. Is the fight worth watching? Is it going to be boring? Is it going to be more exciting this time? And what happens going forward? Will Haney fight Lomachenko or will he not? You guys let me know in the comment section. I'm Paulie Malignaggi. This is Paulie TV.